Pineapple Pete has arrived.
Yeah, don't stop on my account. Go ahead.
No, what was I saying? No, so we were going to have that call with the potential partner in terms of conservation today, and they had to cancel last minute because they couldn't even get online because of a load shedding practice that happens in South Africa from time to time. It all depends on also the seasons. Winter, obviously, people use more electricity. So, yeah, it's a juggling act. But that's all comes down to bad city planning. Yeah. Anyways, I thought I'd make an appearance tonight just to say hi, guys.
That's
how's it
city
going?
planning. That's KL's rules, man.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, it's we're. Did you know? Let's not get into politics too much. But did you know that the South African government sent over officials to Kuala Lumpur to learn a lot of the systems? And if you dig deep, you will see that. I promise you, it's all true. They sent over officials to learn the systems, processes. I don't know if you know anything about Cape Town, but there's a very big Cape Malay population because of the trade routes that existed many years back. So the countries are very closely connected. Not geographically, but...
but it's... I mean, of all the countries to go learn shit from Malaysia, man! Oh,
well,
boy.
It depends on your agenda, Pete. It all depends on your agenda.
Yeah, true.
Many places I wouldn't want to visit, but we don't share the same agenda.
Yeah.
So we got some cool, interesting things to talk about. Is Benny going to join us later?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. He was live last week, and he didn't specifically tell me that he's joining, so maybe not.
Yeah. You're saying he's not dead this week, is he, Pete?
No, he's alive and well. He's kicking hard.
He's alive, but he's kicking ass. So
I mean, literally, I've just finished up doing an AMA for Vietnam. So
usually he'll give me a heads up, like say, hey, okay, I'll come over. But if he doesn't, then it's a coin flip.
Yeah. I can't spend the whole evening. I've still got to finish up a few things, but I thought I'd just pop my head in and give some updates and answer any questions people might have. Literally just finished up a AMA for Vietnam. We've got an enormous amount of eyeballs on us now in Vietnam, which is exciting for a number of reasons. But also a little bit of a scare factor the other day. I think it was even yesterday. We have obviously the public group, the community group on Telegram. And we saw not a massive, but we saw a spike in newcomers. And one of our bots had reached its limit. So I thought, oh, shit. Now we're going to get a whole bunch of new traffic in, new community members. And if you know anything about Southeast Asia, there is a little bit of a challenge in terms of bot traffic. So you do need these capture bots in place to make sure that the right people are coming in and they're validated and vetted and all that. So, yeah, there's some great things happening in Southeast Asia in particular. So we've got, just this week alone, we've got 2 AMAs for Vietnam. A very big community has been scheduled over the weekend. Enormous community, just as big as the crypto, Satoshi group that we did last Sunday.
Yeah,
that was huge. That was massive. So that was a great deal.
That one they gave away like $500 worth of stuff, right?
Yeah,
giveaways and all that.
Yeah, look, I approached them. I set up the deal. It was we're probably going to do things on a more regular basis. They're very professional outlet. They've also got obviously all those in-market channels, which is applicable for us because when we are setting up these different in-market specific activations, language becomes a barrier. So when we're doing these things, like with Vietnam as an example, I'm setting up actual teams on the ground. Ground force troops there to translate, to handle the community, make sure that all the answers and the content is obviously facilitated properly. So yeah, I was a little bit worried this week when we saw that spike in our community group jump, and I thought, oh goodness, we're going to get a whole lot of noobs, which is great. New audience members, new members of the community is fantastic, and that's our endeavor, right? That's our objective. But it is going to be a little bit of a challenge when we and ethnicity requirements. So I do ask the guys out here, whoever's on this call, when we do get new people on board, and that's going to happen fast and furious over the next couple of weeks and months to come. Let's all be welcoming. Let's, obviously extend a warm, and grateful open arms, and let's be sensitive towards, certain cultural potential misunderstandings which happen. Now, I've worked across globes or markets most of my career, and I can understand that, the art or the illusion of communication is that it's taken place. It's an old saying. It has never been truer when you add a culture or language barrier in the mix. So all I say is when we get new guys on, just be welcoming and friendly.
Good evening, all.
Stupid bot's dead. Yeah, good evening, Bunny. Want to play the music, but
just to touch on Philip's point as well, is that what's really important is that we're testing models and concepts in English-speaking countries first, so that we can actually have visibility. So people have asked often why we've targeted Philippines, or why we talk about the Philippines a lot, and that's purely based on the fact that it's a predominantly English-speaking country, and we can actually get our formulas right before they're rolled out. So Philip's role is tremendously challenging when he does get into foreign territories, because it's very, very hard to police what's actually happening. It's hard enough to get most of these crypto-based concepts across in English to English-speaking people, let alone trying to get them across in Vietnamese to Vietnamese people. Yeah.
And Google Translate is nowhere near where it should be, right?
Oh, I think it's terrible. Google Translate can't even turn Australian into English, mate.
Yeah. I wish AI was better than it was. Yeah, but anyway, so there's a lot of activity happening at that level. There was a question asked earlier on just now. We're doing a lot of activity in Southeast Asia. But when we launch the vault, since it's international, are we going to do YouTube and Facebook? Absolutely, 100%. So with that campaign that we're in the obviously the formulation phases right now, it is going to be a global campaign. So when you talk about media buying, you look at global media buyers, and then you look at in-market specific media buyers. There are certain providers, and I'm just going to give you a rough example. There would be like a CoinDesk would be a global potential media partner, and then you would have your more in specific markets or media partners in each market that would be related to that. So obviously, when you're talking about the internet, also it's like divvied up, kind of like in two, quadrants, two segments. One is Facebook and one is Google. And if you're not dabbling in one of the two sides of the fence, you're probably missing half the audience. Now, the challenge is when you're talking about digital marketing is that you're spending 100%, 50% is working. You don't know which 50% it is. So when you are going across all these channels, you need to cover all your bases. So yes, 100% will be doing YouTube, Facebook, Twitter campaigns. I'm engaging KOLs on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok user, I admit that, but it is an important channel. It's one of the fastest growing social media platforms in the world. So we are talking to KOLs, influencers in the space on TikTok. So we are going to be embarking on a global campaign for many different initiatives, but obviously leading up to land sales and the vault reveal and launch and all that. So yes, we are.
Do you have also an indication on the time frame on these campaigns?
Time frame, we're probably we're in the final stages of just finalizing the finer points, but we're probably looking at about for the first rollout, I stand to be corrected, but end of June or so, and that'll be the first iteration, the first phases, the waves that we are going to be embarking on. There's a few moving parts, but that is the estimated timeline as it stands.
Okay, thank you.
As we stated before, Gralik, the introduction of more senior and higher class ad agencies and stuff like that. The one thing that we've always said since day one, and hand on heart, I mean, you guys know we don't shy away from this, is it's not easy to tell people what Bitcoin is and how Bitcoin works. Try and tell people that you're doing a blockchain venture builder and that you're building an ecosystem, and people's minds start to melt. And the old adage is if you can't explain it properly in 30 seconds, then you probably don't understand it well enough. And we don't shy away from that. It's taken us a long time to be able to get it to a point where we can explain it in simplistic terms. But there's also elements that we've deliberately not explained because it's a highly competitive space and it's going to get more and more competitive. And we believe we've got some pretty good secret sauce. So it's just a matter of trying to do a more of a tadam. And as we've said, we've made no secret about it. We've wanted to, and we've tried to fly under the radar a little bit while we get some of this stuff going. And now we're trying to up the ante and start to bring people in. So it takes time. The stories have to be crafted and structured, and it's really interesting because when you go through the internal team and talk to the team and all the rest of it, we have to also make sure that our understanding is aligned and we're all headed in exactly the same direction and for the same reasons. And that's what makes the team strong and makes our journey much more likely to succeed.
Yeah, and we also, of course, we don't want to rush it because we have a significant chance to completely blow out the market. So if we rush it, we're going to cut corners and it's not going to be 100%. And we'd rather make sure that we have got everything in its right place, an absolutely ideal scenario to present to a global market to dominate the space. So that's always been our premise, that we don't want to cut any corners. We are obsessed with the design. We're obsessed with the quality of the experience that we're going to provide. And we will not discount any of those factors just because we need to get something out.
Exactly. And the thing is that if you're trying to tell the story the right way and you're pointing people to something, you need to make sure that both of those things marry up. So what you're actually using to gain a person's attention and what you're pointing them to, both of them have to be there and both of them have to work and both of them have to connect. And crypto is very good at doing one of the two and not marrying things together. So we're trying to just up the ante and the professionalism a little bit and head towards being that traditional business. And we're working on some bigger, longer term deals and partnerships that would actually give you guys a lot more confidence and faith that we're heading down a much more traditional, less dependent on Bitcoin's volatility type of model.
Yeah.
Okay, so what have we got? Questions for that time. So ads rolling out end of June, so I guess about 1 month before Vault rollout, or how long will that campaign run for? So Burdekin, it's really interesting, and I've said hand on heart, I probably the fish rots from the head, and I probably underestimated the gravity of it, and it wasn't until some of our, like one of our advisors, Joe, who's very close to me for 25 years, sort of turned around and said, I don't think you understand the magnitude and the gravity of how big what you're building is going to be going forward. And it was then, Rule and all that have come out and started really talking about it, backing that up recently. But it's easier for an outside person if we're involved in it every day. We understand it's significant, we understand it's big, and we understand what we're doing. But when you get outside people saying, you get one shot at this, and this is actually much bigger than you're probably, it's good to be a little bit modest or unsure or worried about the gravity and the magnitude. I mean, we just got off a design call before this one, and they were saying it's not like you can just go and Google what you guys are trying to do. It doesn't. Most of it doesn't exist in out there, so that you're on your own. You've got to come up with your own answers. And sometimes, being honest, that's difficult. There's a lot of moving pieces, and we don't profess to have all of the answers to everything. And we're building something that hasn't been done before in this capacity. So it's interesting.
Yeah, Benny, sometimes not just the answers. Sometimes we don't even know what the questions are, right? Like, if we can't ask the questions, then how are we going to get the answers, right? So sometimes we think about what are the correct questions to ask. Then we said, okay,
yeah,
these are the questions. But then, 1 week later, new set of questions come out, and then like, hey, wait a minute, why didn't we think of it last week, right? But again, it's the nature of what we do, right?
Yep. Hero Gamer, look, it's a good question, and 99 out of 100 projects will tell you, shove it, and we're not going to have to answer to you. You're not shareholders and all the rest of it, but that we're straight shooters and we say things for what they are. We have plenty of runway. We survived the previous bear market, and if we were to plunge into a deep bear market, for example, we have no issues with that. We also have a development fund, as you would be aware, and we haven't touched the development fund yet. So that's all very encouraging, but we're also, as I stated before, and we're serious when we say this, we've started to garner some pretty serious outside attention from investors, and I've told you my stance on this since day one, and that is equity partners are expensive bedfellows, and we've never sold equity. We don't like the idea of selling equity, but ultimately our business is in a very different phase now. We're about to hit an inflection point. We're about to pull the trigger on some of these projects, and we've finally got the right type of people coming to us now and saying, hey, you've got something special here. We can put jetpacks on what you're doing and open doorways, give you heaps of runway, and also bring in the right people to help you to really polish this up and get it to an amazing level. And that comes with partnerships and all the rest of it. So we're very seriously looking at that at the moment. So as far as like, would we have funding or would we be able to survive or anything, that's not even a concern for us. We're very, very confident that we can not only weather the storm, we're also moving rapidly towards being in a situation where we've decoupled ourselves from the dependency of the token. But because we're getting to that point, that also has a really weird flow-on and knock-on effect, because if one of these big companies comes along and injects a huge amount of money into you and gives you a big valuation and opens up doors and all the rest of it and really puts jetpacks on there, and you sort of say, well, that's great, that means that the token dynamic doesn't really impact us moving forwards. The sheer fact that you've got that size of investment, you've got those partnerships, and you've got that opportunity means that your token actually is in a situation where it directly gets benefited from all of that news and partnerships and all the rest of it. So ultimately, it's a win-win situation, and we think we've found a very, very good potential deal and partnership. So we're working on that. Are you guys going to have an interview with Rule sometime? Not sure, Ray. I mean, we'd definitely be open to it for sure. I would love to. The hype and amazing graphics of 3rd edition COGS coming out, or the first and second. Oh, yeah. I'll let Fads talk about that, EMAS. But ultimately, he's made the point several times, and he knows the space a lot better than I do. So I'm ill qualified to really give some sort of groundbreaking opinions and answers on it, but I can tell you this is basic math. The number of people that he's targeting to bring in and that the campaigns are set up for are 500,000 in the foreseeable future. And the thing is that have a look at the number of COGs that there are, and have a look at how many COGs are required to be able to just play. We've been having lots of talks and discussions in relation to the play to earn economy and all the rest of it, and I think that there's some pretty exciting stuff coming, and there isn't a lot of there's never going to be more 1st and 2nd edition, so I don't think there's any worries there. Will there be a partnership announced soon? Yeah, Crypto J, there'll probably be several partnerships announced, and I think we're going to get to a situation like we did with the exchange listings, where people were saying, why aren't you listing, what's happening? And then we did 3 in a week. It's just how the planets line up in this crazy space, and it's a matter of they also have to get stuff cleared on their side, and some of them we can announce, but others they have to announce it. So I think that we're going to get a bit of a traffic jam, and they're all going to come through at once. And when that does happen, it's not by design or by fault. It's just the way it panned out. But I think that if we're sort of talking about the deal we were talking about before, that would bring partnerships and types of things to the table that I don't think anyone would ever nudge us to bring out news quickly ever again. You'd just be saying, carry on, gentlemen. do what you do.
Ben, it's the old saying is true. Like, success looks like it happens overnight, but it actually takes a lot of work in the background, and it's probably going to hit us all like a ton of bricks, but that is the way of the beast.
100%. And I mean, the thing is that we don't take our foot off the pedal. We work horrendous hours. I look like I'm 90 years old. I'm actually 16. It's just we couldn't work any harder than we're working, and that doesn't always equate to results straight away. We've been around a while. We understand how the game's played. We understand that we're building something longer term, and therefore we're trying to make sure we build partnerships with companies that make you guys say, wow, how did they get that deal to happen? And those take time. These people don't just come in and say, hey, how you doing, and sign a piece of paper. It's a long courting process.
I think also
the Vault be able to, yeah.
Sorry, mate. Just on that, there was some feedback today on the AMA that we had. People were like, "Oh, well, we're expecting an announcement. We're expecting an announcement." And the premise is, if we're not in the right position to give information on a partnership, I want to make sure that we at least producing content that is engaging. And in my opinion, it was stimulating and it was cool. So if we don't have something to say, we're not going to say it for its sake. I want to make sure that our content engages, obviously, new eyeballs coming into the space. You've got to realize we've got a whole, like in the last week or so, we've got hundreds of new people into our audience group. So this content that we produce is not only for old people in the community, but it's also for newcomers. So, there's a two-pronged approach when it comes to content. Engage new users and obviously keep the current users engaged.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. And I think the thing is that we're not just going to announce something for the sake of announcing something either. We've moved beyond these little things and little deals and little partnerships, and we're moving into big waters now. So it is fair to assume that the pace that we're building stuff is crazy, but it is fair to assume that as time goes on, you'll see that bigger partnerships are announced and they're a little bit more spaced out, and then you'll reach an inflection point where you just partner with everybody and it just happens, sort of looks like it happens overnight, but it doesn't. Yeah. Is there an update about RFOX finance coming this week? Okay, so Scott, I can be honest with you, we've been interviewing GMs because it is obviously the MVP's out, it's proven that it has a product market fit, so now we're looking for people with deep financial knowledge and product knowledge. We found a candidate that we think is extremely strong. So we're just going through the motion and the process now, because this is something that always carries our brand name. So it's very important that we put the right people at the helms. So we've told you that we've made no secret about it. There's lots of projects that want to get involved and want to do either farming, staking, IDOs or whatever. So we've gone through the legal process of finding out what we can and can't do. And now we're just trying to get someone who's got a bit more of a clue than us when it comes to building financial products to sort of steer the ship now and make it a big boy, venture rather than just very vanilla like the rest of them out there. And we want to do always do some creative stuff. Will the Vault be able to run on medium spec phones in Southeast Asian market? Oh, that's a great question, Hero Gamer. We literally just got off a call talking about this now. And the answer is yes, it will be able to. The resolution may be slightly different if you've got like a super old cruddy phone. We actually did say to them we'd go back to them in relation to, do we want to do extra development where we would effectively make it so that there could be a 2D iteration or version that would run for lower specs or on different operating systems. And that's something we sort of said, we'll have to come back to you and let you know. Was the wrong people in the room to answer that question, but yes, it was something we just talked about, and yes, you will be able to. It just might be that the quality is a little bit different. Is partners from Philippines someone from the States or Europe would have heard of? Actually, at this stage, XP, the people that we're talking to are international brands. I'm trying to think of any that are not. one of the brands that we've talked to or two of the brands that we've talked to are regional, and one's famous in Europe and one's famous in Australia. But outside of that, they're all international brands, household names.
Benny, I think what the XP's question is the partnership for the RFOX games, because last Friday Fads mentioned about a partnership with someone in the Philippines.
That's
so XP. Yeah, that kind of questions should be more for Fads on Friday. But I've answered your question.
Yeah, but all of that stuff's global.
Yeah, we're working on the PR release for that. It should be announced, I think, Monday or so.
But it's global. Can you give us an explanation for the sudden decrease in farming and staking APR on the UI? Yep, the ambassadors have give some answers, but it would be good to hear what has gone on from you guys direct. How will you work on not letting this type of problem happen again? So two things, Kev. They have to get obviously updated and adjusted continually based on how many people are in the pool and the volumes and all the rest of it. But also some of the algorithms, like in the beginning, you'll notice that we had price issues or screens would go down or off. We were using different APIs. We were using PancakeSwap's APIs. We switched to other APIs. Depends where you're getting the data and the feeds from and all the rest of it. But the way that the Pancake swap environment is set up and built is that the algorithms are all based on the premise of what PancakeSwap do. So if PancakeSwap have emission rates of XYZ, then everything's calculated. Now, most of the projects don't actually change anything, which is why you get a lot of people saying, I don't understand what this means, or why is this API here, or why is this API here? So we have to go through and actually change all of the codes and change all of the parameters to actually feed from the emission rates that we have, as opposed to the ones that are the default ones you get from PancakeSwap. So there's quite a lot of, it's not just a standard copy and paste, there's quite a lot of fiddling that has to be done. And that's why the majority of projects say, I can't be asked doing this, and they just leave wrong numbers up. But that's something that we're continually trying to work out how to improve that, get it right, and make sure it's accurate and up to date. So yeah, the short answer is that we've gone in and actually changed PancakeSwap's algorithms, numbers, emission rates, and all the rest of it. And we've worked out a way, we think now going forwards, that we can make sure that it's not subject to whatever they've put in the system. 500,000 new users here at Gamer. Yeah, the thing is that you've got to understand that some of the campaigns that we're looking at doing soon as well. I think I'm a long way behind, aren't I? Some of the things that we're looking at doing as well have a pretty viral nature to them. We've got some good people now involved, so we're going to get some pretty cool marketing stuff that brings in large amounts of users, and then doesn't really matter how we bring them in. Our expertise as a core team is keeping them in once they get in, or the experience side of things. So we're just getting our system set up, our federated IDs, logins, and everything organised so that we can onboard people. We're getting our business intelligence stuff tidied up. So yeah, we're developing a really solid foundation in A game now. I think I'm a long way behind, aren't I? Not really. All right.
You're about 10 minutes behind.
Catch up.
Yeah, but it's not many questions. All right, not many questions. Since the extra exchanges has the volume increased, okay, Phantom, I'm just going to say this one last time, but here's the situation. Everybody kept saying to us since the beginning, get listed on exchanges, hurry up and list, hurry up and list. And we kept saying, I give advice to a lot of projects, and I've talked to a couple this week, and they were saying, what do we do? Do we list or do we build? And you might think that sounds really funny, but projects actually, pretty much every project has that choice to make in the beginning. Do you build or do you advertise and market and hype? Which is why so many meme coins exist. So that's the choice that people have got. Do you go out there and build something, or do you hype it and talk about what's going to be built? We obviously went for the first and built. And what we actually said after continual 18 months, 2 years of people saying, hurry up and list on proper exchanges. Like, when are you going to list? We turned around and said, if you haven't built your audience yet, built the market up, what will happen is you're just going to be spreading the already thin volume across more exchanges. And what the bigger volumed exchanges do is allow early investors to just exit out of their position, and it doesn't really help the situation in any way, shape or form. Now, moving forwards, when we bring bigger communities in, there's more places for them to trade and on board to. But as I've said a million times, most of these centralized exchanges are dead men walking anyway. But the honest answer to that is, Phantom, it was almost a little bit of an exercise of I told you so. But yes, it doesn't increase the volumes massively at all. All it does is just spread it across more exchanges. So this is the dilemma that most projects face: is do they build or do they list? Luckily, we got ourselves into a position where we built and we can list, and now we're just focusing back on building. And there's only 3 or so tier ones, and once those tier ones come on board, then we'll be away. If you take some big backers, will you need to answer to them? Is there a potential for them to say they don't want the RFOX token to be the money of the metaverse because they don't understand it? They might prefer USD. No way, mate. We would never partner with someone like that. The people we're looking at doing something with are very, very versed in the blockchain space, extremely creditable investors. Most of you would have never heard of them from the blockchain side, but you would know them from the legacy side. But the answer to that question is we inevitably would probably have to answer. Inevitably, we'd have to give up a board seat at least. And these people would have some sort of say, but we've made it very, very clear that what we want is people coming in and adding value. We don't want to just take money from somebody. If someone wants to put money at our door and run away, not interested, they have to open doors, help with exposure, listings, partners, all of that type of stuff. Otherwise, there's no point us doing it. We don't need to take outside investment. But if we do take outside investment, it has to really mean that we get our products out a lot faster, better quality, and we are marketing. We've got huge marketing budgets that will make Philip sort of giggle with delight. There he goes. We have to rev the engines, and there's no point just taking money from somebody because it's not going to help us. But we may have to answer to them. But as far as them dictating how this would work, we actually said this the other night, and we actually said it in the meeting with these guys. We said, if we had have taken money early on, there's no way in God's name we'd have been allowed to build what we're building. No way. There's no rational investor group who would have in the beginning said, yep, we'll back you in to build, NFTs, games, metaverses. No way. They would have said, do something, do it well, sell a safe amount of bath plugs or bedding materials or whatever it is that's safe, and just give us a return on our money. They're not going to back a dream or a big idea. But now that they can see that the pieces are coming together, now people don't see it as being a really risky investment at all. Yep, that's right. 10 years. You were doing brick and mortar approvals and return on investment cases in the past, and indeed multinationals take massive amount of time on decision making, freeing up budget and passing legal. Yeah, I think that most of them, it's really weird, Relic, because it's been a combination of some of the big brands saying, who's going to be next to me? We don't want riffraff. We want to be positioned in a premium area or something. Or most of them say, we've got no idea about how to do any of this stuff. Can you do it for us? And you sort of think, hang on. But we have had a couple of the traditional players come in and sort of say, we'd have to man it, market it, advertise it, look after it, maintain it. There's a cost associated for us. So it's really interesting. That's more the old school mentality. The new school is like, you can use our name and you can use our products, but can you do it for us and just deliver us the check? Because we don't really understand it. So it's kind of a pretty good mix, actually. You notice that we don't do the tag and retweet 2 friends for your chance to win. I mean, Philip can probably answer that, but we've stayed away from the whole airdrop campaigns of, we've tried to steer clear of all of that crap, to be honest with you. Doesn't
basically,
long term.
Basically, when it comes to marketing, you have opt-in and you have permission-based marketing. if you are tagging people that are not really participating in the space, or they don't want to be involved, and you suddenly bring them into the space, they can get quite agitated, and it does brand damage. So I don't think that's the classiest way to market a product or brand.
Yeah. Will we hear any further info? Sorry.
No, someone was agreeing.
Yeah. So will we hear any further incentives to be? Yes, of course, CJ. That we need the GM from finance to start to sort of look at the opportunities that are in front of us and tell us which is the best way to go. Because, like I say, we've got the opportunity to do additional staking pools, loans, insurance, collaterally based stuff, launches, IDOs, IFOs. They're all there. They're all ready and available, but it's a matter of legally, do we want to be doing that? Should we be doing that? What's the benefit of doing that? We've got some really good ideas on. Again, it comes back to some of the people that we're about to partner with. I'll leave that stuff. Any hints on specific tube utility for the vault? I'll let Fads talk to you about that stuff. But we have been talking about it, Hanford. It is coming. If it can run on cheap, show my. It should be. Yeah, exactly. Show me. This isn't a very serious question, but do you think that the user base you are targeting will buy more packs than us OGs?
Phantom, I don't
really...
think so. The OGs are really whaley.
Well, the thing is that you go back to we were looking at some of the Axie journey today as well, and that a lot of those things were $5, and now they're like $160 and stuff over the period of a few years. And then you've got those guilds and whale groups and all the rest of it. I mean, the thing is, if you get in early into anything, you obviously do very well. But when you head towards a mass market type of model, you're bringing in more player based, and then so the player base would be the biggest focus. The collector base would sort of either be born from that player base or naturally wander in because they see the demand, the exposure, and all the rest of it. So, it's a very good question.
So Phantom, I think the OGs. I mean, so from I think if you look at maybe from a grand scheme of things, overall sales kind of perspective, I think if you split it up, maybe the OGs percentage of the overall sales, I think might be less because we're targeting a bigger user base, right? But I don't think the new user base will be buying as much than, let's say, you or Hanford in terms of individual purchases. And this is very prevalent in existing markets like Magic the Gathering, for example, right? There are hardcore collectors that buy significant amounts. But if you look at the casual market on the other hand, right, the total casual market is actually about 85% of Magic's total revenue. But the 15%, and those are the whales that buy crates and crates and crates of stuff, that's that's just a handful of people. But the overall market is
it's the same.
So
it's the same with everything. I mean, 50% of the digital economy in Southeast Asia is made up of 15% of the population. So I mean, it's always it's always a skewed audience. How does Benny know everything? I think that it's important that I know the project very well, obviously, Hero Gamer, but there's lots of things I don't know how to answer. I generally stay the hell away from those rooms. We try and make sure that the right people are in the right rooms. It's not always easy, and sometimes we don't have the right people, so we're all in the room when we shouldn't be. But it's extremely important that we understand our project very well. But I certainly don't have all the answers. Jesus, those pair of underpants are very disturbing, aren't they?
I disagree, Ben. I really like them.
I mean, it probably could be a comforting type of picture or something if it wasn't centered around somebody's crotch.
Well, the premise is we support you while you support us.
Exactly. Actually, Adelaide, children can't use credit cards, can they? I mean, geez, I was actually I was blown away with some of the stats that I've seen over the last few days about some of these kids that have been collecting the NFTs. Kids, there's like a whole ton of people that are like under 15 years old that have made tens of thousands of dollars. These are kids. Any hints or crumbs on the VFOX for the future? Maybe things that will be added to the utility, etc. Yeah, coming, Donny. What we've got to start doing very shortly is rolling out the LORE, so the story behind the space, and that will answer a lot of these questions. But we're having lots and lots of meetings on how to marry the LAW and the LORE, so the functions and the rules along with the story, and then that will definitely answer a lot of those questions for you. Children, never have kids. I think one of the best bumper stickers I ever saw was a car that said, kids in the back cause accidents and accidents in the back cause kids.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's nice. I would
cool.
like that bumper sticker.
It's a pretty good one. I think the only better one is save gas fart in a jar. How is the process going on breaking into your COG account that is locked up like an eternal prison? I haven't had the chance to look. I get so many people say, serious question, Benny, very well done on the project, and you guys are doing amazing things, and could you look at that trade I sent you?
Benny,
Yeah,
I told them
all
you forgot the password and you lost the account. So stop bugging him.
I don't even know how. It's been ages since I logged in. Getting DM'd resumes of people looking for AXI scholarships now. Yeah, apparently that's the case. I think we're going to be able to rival this type of stuff. Ziggy,
Yeah,
it'll be announced.
Ramses, our goal is for all those people who DM people asking for AXI scholarships to start playing COG Slam. They don't need scholarships for that. It's free to play. That's the goal.
Bertican, I thought it was centered around someone's face. Don't know what you're looking at. I don't know, mate. You got it. I don't know where you're based, mate, but you've got some pretty weird COVID masks then. We support you while you support us. Did you miss the answer to this? I think no. I think you don't have to wait very long for the final versions of some of this marketing material and advertising stuff to come out. So it's best just to wait. Will you log in and collect any edition 3, Benny? Phantom, I tell you what, I'm actually I know this sounds really, really weird, but I'm going to be participating in the 3rd edition as a collector, as a complete outsider for the first time, because I've been intimately involved in the first 2 editions. I feel as though there's a labor of love, and I've seen it's like a chef that cooks a meal. He knows every little piece of chicken and pepper and onion and stuff that's gone into it. Saw every little piece of it, and this is the first time that a team of people have come in, done it, and I'm literally like one of you guys. So I'm going to be I'll be standing in the line, and I'll try and buy some packs, and I will do what I always do. I'll buy packs, I'll support it, I'll trade, I'll collect. So yes.
But Benny, actually it's refreshing, because even for me, I mean, I don't get, I mean, as they're working on it, I don't see the whole progress, right? And then once they start sharing it, some of the items, I only see when they release it on our site. So, and then people are asking me, oh, what do you think of the COG? I mean, I'm like, what COG? Then they're like, it's on the site. I'm like, okay, this is the first time I'm seeing it. So it is a very refreshing thing, since especially for 2nd edition, I was like, balls deep in it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right, Ramses. It will pull a lot of people across. That is 100% for sure. And I think that some of the stuff that we've got planned is going to be, it's pretty exciting, actually. You can be my official trader, Terry. Vertican, no. The general rule of thumb internally is don't show Betty anything till it's finished, and keep him away from things, because he'll either break it, or he'll get in there and tell you that you have to start again. So I've been kept on the out for this. It's my request. I understand my personality type. You better not to show me anything till it's finished. So I think, to be honest, if I want to be 100% honest with you, I think I've seen 3 cogs or 4 cogs from 3rd edition so far. That's it. I've seen the borders and the releases, the public stuff. I haven't seen I haven't seen anything that you haven't seen, and you've probably seen more than me in the Friday reveals, because I haven't gone back in and had a look at any of those. So I would rather just open the packs. I know it sounds really weird because it's impossible to explain. I want to have the experience of being a customer now, and I can't do that if I'm partially involved. So I'm trying to close my eyes. Don't show me. I want to buy it. I want to feel the experience of opening the pack. I want to see what the pack art looks like. I want to open it, listen to it, hear it, see the video, and I want to go, ooh, that one's nice. Ooh, I want to collect those ones. I'm excited for that. It's the first time I've had a chance in this company to actually be in the passenger seat, and I'm very, very excited about it. So I'll do what you do. I'll go onto an exchange, I'll buy a ton of wax, and I'll be sitting there in the queue trying to work out how to buy this.
Benny, you don't have to buy wax anymore. We accept credit card.
I don't have a credit card, man.
We accept
crypto.
We accept
I'm in the
RFOX.
blockchain space. Yeah, that's good. I haven't actually had a credit card since I discovered Bitcoin. How many vaults will there be in 5 years? That's a very good question, George. And if these types of partners that we're looking at bringing on now get involved, I think that they will probably look at taking vaults to regions of the world that we are not focused on as well. That's what they would like anyways. Whether that happens, I'm not sure. But in 5 years from now, I would expect that there'd be, I'd have to guess, and I literally must put the caveat in front of my answer, and that is I am pulling a number out of my ass. I would assume that there would be at least 15 to 20 of them. At least. Otherwise, I'd be pretty disappointed, because it means I have a very robust model. CJ, you fear that you're just buying through multiple editions without ever really knowing the utility other collectors. We know that there is a game coming, but don't know how much the different editions will be used for games other than Slam. We know tubes will have use, but not the specifics. Wasn't 2nd edition supposed to be the confetti cogs? If so, the 3rd edition supercharged confetti. All good questions, CJ. It is a good question, and people buy through editions of lots of different things. People buy tokens that actually have no team, just pumpkins, and never ask any question as long as the number goes up, right? But ultimately, I think you guys know that there's a longer-term plan with the interoperability and the play to earn. So yeah, I think it's a fair question, mate. I think at this stage you're basically going on trust, and you're basically going on what you've seen from us and what we've shown you, and I think it's a fair enough question to ask that. I'm the person that said that the 2nd edition would be more like the confetti compared to the 1st, because there would be a lot more of them, and it would be for the gaming side of things. I think that obviously the game wasn't yet out, so the 3rd edition is going to be the edition that's out when the game's out, and that's when the exposure is going to come. And I think by virtue, luck, whatever it is, the 2nd edition will actually have a chance of being a lot more valuable than it potentially could have been, based on the fact that it is limited in its number, and if the traction that we're targeting comes in, it isn't really in bountiful supply. So yes, but it's a fair question, mate. They're fair questions. We don't shirk away from that. Understand what you're saying. All I would say is, can we please revisit this in a few weeks when the game's out? Any branded cogs on the horizon? I'm not allowed to answer that. I'll get shot. Any thoughts on the Novogratz Gary V partnership that got MLB? Not really. They're pretty big heavyweights, aren't they? I haven't seen the whip, Phantom. I haven't seen it. Can you show it to me? People in the metaverse
for information, Phantom. Benny, they're just fishing for information.
Yeah, we should do a live opening with me here at Gamer. I'd love to do that. I'd be pretty excited, I think. I actually don't want to be the person that's going, right, does everything go okay? Shit, do I have to go out to the public and explain something? What's going on? Can someone give me an update? I'll be able to sit back and go, hey, what's happening here, guys? I'll be like you guys. I'll be in the peanut gallery and I'll be able to throw tomatoes at them. People in the metaverse have no idea on cog utility. Well, there's no real people in the metaverse yet. By the time there are, they will. They definitely will. One actual question. About a month ago, you said you'll only do a fortnightly AMA and have been here every week since. Has anything major changed to the team and should be concerned about this complete lack of believability? Actually, in fairness, that was Philip and the guys protecting me. And, I get asked to do a lot of AMAs and interviews and all the rest of it. And I should be doing that. But the thing is that we decided that we would do these burn events at the same time as when we would normally do these 2 weekly things. So I can go back to, I can go to 2 weeks if you would like me to. I'm very happy to do that.
Yeah. So Benny, before you jump on the call, me and Philip were on there. Then we says, oh, most probably Benny wouldn't come today because last week you were on, right, for the burn, and then you'll only appear next week. And then you came on and they're starting to not believe us.
All right, I won't come next week then. Yeah, well, see, Jay, I mean, the thing is, the one thing you can definitely say for sure and certain is that if you ask a question, you'll get an answer, and it might not always be great, or it might not always be the answer that you want. But if you want the answer and you want the truth, I'll tell you what it is. Like I say, it might not always be perfect, but yeah, if I was in your situation, I'd be saying, hang on a second, we're buying these things and now there's more of them coming. Well, what's going on with this? But I think we've shown enough to show that we're not going anywhere. We're not running away. We're not some sort of, I won't mention the 2 projects on Wax. We're actually doing stuff. We're building stuff and rolling stuff out. We want to see an angry work, Benny. I tell you what, I've actually probably blown my top more in the last few weeks than I have ever in my career. I actually, in fairness and in all honesty, I said to the guys, we need to take a weekend last weekend, because it's, I think it's been 18 months to 22 months without a weekend. And I'd planned to have 1 day off or something before and didn't do it. Even told Telegram group I'm having a day off, and we never did it. And there comes a time when you just got to recharge the batteries for a couple of days because there's a lot going on, and make sure that the team's taking some time out. We have a very horrible habit of messaging each other at ridiculous hours. Pete and I quite often message each other in the middle of the night.
Benny, I do apologize for messaging you in the middle of the night. I'll try to not do that.
I'm happy that someone else is up messaging, but yeah, he's always up.
But Pete, we need to stop with the weird selfies that you send at 12 o'clock in the morning. Huh?
Oh yeah, you definitely. I'll stop sending you that, Phil. I thought you loved it.
Can I give you the thoughts on the market overall and where you think we are in the cycle? Yeah, it's a great question, Kevin, if you want to be really, really honest. And, I think a lot of these people that are going out are guessing, obviously, and I would be too. So I'll just present you with some facts. We haven't ever had a 77% or thereabouts pullback in a bull market that has then continued, but we've never had a market in the condition or the market conditions that we've got now. Since the last bull run, we've had decoupling because of stablecoin introduction at the end of the last bull run, or to mid and end of the bull run. We're seeing some weird signs. If you look at the BSC projects that have done very well, a lot of this, let's be honest, the launch pads and stuff have actually not been a success. These allocations to projects and people putting their tokens in, effectively people are looking at quick flips, and it's categorically been proven that nobody gives a toss about half of those projects. And even projects that look like they've got a lot of promise, like Orc, on the BSC side and stuff that did very well, their volumes have dropped to $20,000 a day or $30,000 a day. Some of them have dropped to even less. So what it is showing is that all of the money is flowing into Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're not seeing a massive, anything that's new is being pretty much abandoned, and that was like the case at the end of the last cycle. But it looks like there's still some pretty healthy volumes on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we are starting to see some signs of a trickle down and a little bit of a resurgence. Whether it's a sucker's rally or a continuation, I don't think it's been verified yet. So I still don't know for sure and certain. But I think the next few weeks will tell. We should, if we are going to continue on and really do well, I think we're going to be in a three to 4 month grinding cycle of up 30% over the course of a few weeks, and then a 20% dip, and then up 30%. And if that starts happening, then buckle in, because we haven't been through the parabolic run yet for the alts, which we haven't actually seen that massive parabolic run. So either that, or we go down and grab your ankles and a tube of lube. But I don't know the answer, to be honest with you, mate. As far as like what we're seeing, as far as investors coming through and people that are wanting to and prepared to, we've had people offer to buy tokens and lock them up for a period of time and all the rest of it. So the confidence still seems to be there, and money still seems to be there on the outside. So there's a lot of mixed signals at the minute. I know that probably hasn't answered your question at all, but I think that we don't know. We're in a holding pattern. I'm more bullish than I've ever been on what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I just pray that the market supports that. Sorry if that doesn't answer your question very clearly, mate. What else have we got? Yeah, have you ever heard that thing? Never look another man in the eye when you're eating a banana. Pete likes things with spikes. Well, that's not quite true, Fenton. We were having a grind up, and then it would dip exactly like I think could happen now, but it's very hard to say. Yeah, there's still money around, Ramses. There's no doubt about that. There's still a lot of money around. I've got a friend who was doing a project and they were trying to raise $6 million, and I think it took them 18 minutes. So there's money around, that's for sure. Yeah, Kev, it's there's plenty to be bullish about, and the thing is that I've said this a lot recently, and we've talked about it as a team. We are moving rapidly towards getting away from the dependency on the token, which actually helps the token, and having everything and every transaction course through and plug into the RFOX token is great. And if we do this partnership and deal, then ultimately we have everything that we need to be able to make sure that everything going forward goes through RFOX without any delays or any headaches and all the rest of it. It's all there for us. So this is a very important deal for us. So I hope I don't cock it up.
Yeah, and just to share some stats on the the BSC side, right? RFOX on BSC side, 95% of the RFOX on the BSC side is actually locked. Like either they're in LPs, they're in various LPs and farm stake and all that. So yeah, just think about that. 95% are in LPs and farms or stakes. Not much. Just random RFOX floating around on the BSC side.
Yeah, exactly. Ray, you guys probably answered this, but will you guys roll out your marketing campaign and push through with the land sale regardless of the bull or bear? Yep, we've already committed to the rollout and the marketing and all the rest of it. So 100%. To quote Doc from Back to the Future, and then plagiarizing and changing it completely. Where we're going, there is no bear market. we're building an ecosystem that will not be reliant on market movements. Now you might say, oh, come on, everybody talks about that, does that. Don't forget, we're looking at RFOX as a secondary layer for a lot of what we do. So we take whatever's in your pocket, and the fact is that we're building stuff for the digital economy, which is rapidly shaping up as being much more significant than it has been in the past. And we're saying we'll take whatever is in your pocket, and it will course through RFOX, which will cause that continual demand for it. I'm more bullish than ever that we are definitely headed in the right direction, and now we've got the attention of people that can help us make that happen, that also believe that we are headed in that right direction as well. So that's very encouraging. So I firmly believe that this is that we will have a decoupled supply and demand type of situation. The market will just be cream on the cake. If this current market is bearish, did you see Embersword land sale crash? Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, XP, there's still no one's saying it's a bear market. No one's saying that the market is bearish. This is either the biggest shakeout that I've seen in my time in crypto, and there'll be there's a lot of wrecked people. I tell you what, anybody that I've said it a million times to you, and I'll say it again: do not use leverage. Full stop. Period. There is nothing more to add to it. Don't margin trade. If you can put money into something and you can afford to lose it, and you're confident in it, for God's sakes, just wait. I don't understand why sometimes people say 30% in a week. That's not enough for me. You got some serious issues if that's the case. Just like understand that it is not worth the risk, because you will get annihilated. These people will wipe you out. These markets are manipulated. Just don't do it. You work hard for your money. Don't give it to people. This is a transfer of wealth from they say it's from the impatient to the patient, but it's more from the people that don't use their brains to the people that do use their brains. So I'm just telling you guys, if you've done it, we can all put our hand up. We've all done it before. Just don't do it again. Don't margin trade. Stop it. You'll lose your money. Yes, of course, the market. Yes, we will. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's bearish, and I don't think it's bullish either. I think we're in a deciding phase at the moment, and you've got to also understand one thing, XP. You've made a very good point. There's a lot of people out there that are looking at their portfolio or whatever they use, and they're saying, 3 weeks ago I was a millionaire, and now I've only got $300,000 or whatever it is. And they're saying, crap, how do I get some of that back? I should have sold. Maybe I can buy something and flip it. Maybe I can farm at 900,000% interest. APR on something that hasn't been audited, that's run by a bloody pumpkin. People are worried that they've not capitalized and taken money off the table, and they feel stupid. And people that have been around for a long period of time say, shit, I did it in 2017 and 18 and now I've done it again. And people are trying to work out how to quick flip and get their positions back to what it was before. Don't do that. Just wait.
Well, the thing is, if you're holding one Bitcoin, right, before the dip, and you're still holding one Bitcoin now, right, it's still one Bitcoin. It's just the value of that one Bitcoin is low right now. And it doesn't matter what you do with the Bitcoin. If you just hold it, if the price goes back up, you're back to square one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't do it, Ramses. I know people that have I've got a lot of friends who are like day traders, and I think that out of all of them, one of them makes money over a long period of time. Most of them are well underwater. Most of the influencers and most of the people that you probably look up to and follow for advice are underwater and in massive debt, because they always know people that know things, and therefore go in with massive leverage and end up owing their souls and lives to people. So just just be really, really careful who you're listening to on. And you might say, well, why should I listen to you? Because I'm telling you not to do that. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what not to do. Don't leverage. Yep. Okay, so I'm mindful of your time as well. Apprentice, how do you go back in time? Yeah, that's a good question. Any last questions? I don't know, Kev, Davey. I don't honestly know. I mean, honestly, if I thought the market was over, I'd call it. I'd say it's done. Pack up, go home, get out of here. But there's been no confirmation either way. Actually, China, when people first come into crypto, they talk about the life-changing money on alts and all the rest of it, and then people that have been in for a year or two say you trade alts so that you can just put it back into Bitcoin. And then people that have been around for a lot longer and seen more cycles understand that outside of 2 years, alts have outperformed over the course of a full calendar year. Alts have outperformed Bitcoin on all bar 2 years, I think it is. If you get into the right alts and then you it depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to flip or trade or cash out at the end of every year for taxation purposes or whatever, I mean, everybody's got a different way of doing things or different targets and goals and all the rest of it. But yeah, Bitcoin is different to those, that's for sure. All right, any last questions? Life-changing money.
Well, I'm going to put up my hand and says, yeah, I traded Shiba and Husky, and I did that so I could get more RFOX.
Pete, what was the other meme coin you told me to trade?
Fuck Elon.
That was the best.
I think I've read a few stories, and I don't want to end on a bad note, but I mean we heard a lot of stories, especially in Korea, about people that had got their whole families and everybody to invest before the last crash. That was actually in 2017. Towards the end of 2017, a lot of people had lost a lot of money on the dips and pullbacks, and some people did some pretty tragic things, but then the market went berserk. But the thing is that I think the new wave of people that came in and latched onto a meme coin because of TikTok or whatever, a lot of those people are going to be working at McDonald's for a long time to get back to where they were. I think that we had the fastest induction of bottom sellers that we've seen in our lives. These people came in, bought, saw the arse end of it fall out, sold at the bottom. It's frightening how many people sold at massive losses. Welcome to crypto. Just stay away from the leverage, guys. $200 of Shiba now got me 20 grand worth of RFOX, which there you go. That's a good story, isn't it? All right. So, any last questions? Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully, we've been able to answer some questions for you. Yep, don't know the answer. As soon as I know what I think the market will do, I'm very happy to share and tell you. But I'm a data person. I'll look for the patterns and the changes and couple that with everything else. The one thing that's really important right now is don't ever, in a market like this that's undecided, never look to Twitter or sentiment to tell you what's going to happen, because sentiment is generally the counter trade indicator. If everybody's bullish, then you're about to get a massive wick down, and if everybody's bearish, people are going to be accumulating the hell out of things and shaking you out. Thank you very much, Emas. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thanks, guys. Have an awesome night, and enjoy your DGen time.